Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I was playing around with inks today and remembered to do a comparison that I had thought about a while ago. It was a good time to do it, so I went ahead and swatched my Vinta Sandugo with two samples I received from my friend Elise at Whole Lotta Plans. They're so similar. It was a really fun comparison though. I love the Sandugo, and I'm not a super big fan of Sheening inks generally. I like some aspects of it, but not when it's overpowering. But as you can see, these three have such a wonderful sheening element, and I do love writing with Sandugo. It feels so nice coming from the pen. It's wet, it flows, it's smooth. The pens I use just provide a slight bit of feedback, and it's so delightful to write with. When you turn these inks, the paper kind of away, you can see more of the kind of the foundational color before the sheen really starts to appear. Sandugo goes down as a reddish orange, but as it dries, as you can see, as I do this, that sheen is just crazy. And then Grotto, I noticed, goes down a little more red. And by the way, these two are from an ink vent. I don't know if it's this year's, but an ink vent. And they're both diamine. And this reminds me somewhat of an ink I used to have, J. Urban's Rouge Hématite, but I don't have that one anymore. And I don't think it had quite as strong of a sheen to it. And then Sleigh Ride, the basic color I see as being a little more brown leaning. So a little more orange, a little more red, and a little more brown. I think this is such a fun name for an ink. It is one of my bucket list items to go on a sleigh ride someday. And I don't really have bucket list items, but if I could do something that is pretty unobtainable where I live, I would love to someday get to do a horse-drawn sleigh ride. So this is on Cosmo Air Light, and I did this one and this one with my Kakamori nib, and I did this one with my Wankai dip pen, and it's, you know, this is the brass and this is glass, I believe. So the lines were different, so I decided to just go ahead and wash the nib again and do the same thing with the Kakamori nib, and then that was on the seam there, so I went ahead and wrote it again there just so we could get a comparison using the exact same nib. So really fun. Let me show you the chromatography. By the way, this is what a bottle of Vinta ink looks like if you have not purchased that. So you can see here, more orange underneath. Although depending on how the light is, even as I put that down and I kind of direct it away, see how that color is kind of a rusty orange red. And then as the light hits it, the sheen appears more on this paper than on these swatch cards. However, these are Wearingeul swatch cards, and it looks like a little Polaroid type picture. This is the diamine Grotto. And here, it really seems a little more orange than it's showing up on this paper. And then the diamine Sleigh Ride, we're seeing a lot of the sheen come through, but not in such a glossy way as you do, or a metallic way as on the Cosmo Air. I'm not sure what kind of paper they use for these. And I know where you put down the ink, it's treated, so there's some resistance around the edge. But it is good for a comparison. I like seeing those swatched out together. Can we do this? Yes, that will fit like that. So very interesting. If you had to guess which two of the three show the same, are the most similar in a chromatography. I think if you were like me, you would guess that these two would be the same, or closest to being the same, and you would be right. Again, more red there. Let's take a look at the chromatography. Here's the San Diego, and we're getting a lot more pink. I tried to dip these all for about 30 seconds, and I did a comparable width line when I first put it on the paper. The Grotto has more, well, I wouldn't say more pink. They're very similar. This just has a darker edge as it goes up the paper, where this stays more orangey. And then the Sleigh Ride has that darker edge. So those two, look at that. I don't know what to say about it. Are they the same ink? I mean, it's so funny. Again, on paper, a little more orange and a little more like a brick red, or more brown leaning. But on these chromatographies, those two are so similar. It's got that dark edge as it finishes where this stays light. It's very interesting. If I was going to be a chemist, I would definitely be a chemist for a fountain pen ink company. It's pretty fascinating, really. Let's take a little closer look at these. These may not be the kind of inks you're thinking about this time of year, but I just really wanted to do a comparison and kind of forgotten about it, and I had these inks set out to try, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to do the comparison. In person, the most heavily sheening is this one, and then this one, but I'm not sure that they're showing up quite the same through my phone. So if you have any one of these, you are probably good without having any of the others. They're so similar. I think this is really fun for Christmas time, the holiday season. I think any of them would work for that. My husband looked at these real quick and goes, oh, that's good for St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it kind of is, because of the orange with the green, especially those two. All wonderful to write with. Again, this writes so fun. It's so neat. I love it. I'm really glad I ended up getting the bottle of that after being given a sample from, I think it started with my friend Katie at Holy Fire Scribble. That is all for now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.